Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Occult Perspectives. So, I just did a video before this, and it was about an hour long. So, I'm going to do another short video. This is Archangel Michael Part 2. If you have not seen the first Archangel Michael video, I recommend you go back and watch that one first, because we're going to start right where we left off in the other video. So these particular music tones that you're hearing here, this is Archangel Michael Golden Abundance, the greatest blessing. 1111 hertz angel frequency. And the YouTube channel is Welcome to Hitatsu 369. So the sounds this evening are courtesy of that YouTube channel. Alrighty. The angelic army commander, Michael, is connected to healing as well. Numerous accounts exist of the faithful invoking Michael's name for healing and protection. When a fearsome plague hit Rome in 950 CE, Pope St. Gregory the Great spearheaded a procession of atonement and penance through the city. At that moment, the Archangel Michael reportedly appeared at the Castel Sant'Angelo, also called the Tomb of Hadrian, and ended the plague. Very interesting lore. A marble statue of the Archangel was erected to mark this occasion. A bronze statue eventually replaced it. There's also the Mycalion, a sanctuary that was reportedly built by Constantine the Great after the Archangel appeared to him in a vision. And if it's the same Constantine, it's very interesting. This is the Constantine that was at the Council of Nicaea, if you know about that, which is where they decided which books were going to go into the Bible and which ones were going to be withheld. Ailing devotees would spend the night at the Mycalion hoping for a vision of the Archangel, just like Constantine, and the healing of their afflictions. I made a note to reference the magical correspondence in Craig and Damien Eccles' book. I can't remember if in the last video we went over the Archangel Michael of Hod and the Elemental Archangel. Basically the ceremonial correspondences for Michael. I feel like maybe we did. So I'm going to have to go back to the first video and see, because I don't really want to do that twice. So I'm going to just keep on going through. The Jews entrusted their sick, not just their military victories, to the Archangel, so their victories over disease. What spurred this belief in part was a story about the sudden appearance of a medicinal spring near the ancient city of Colossae in Phrygia. According to legend, bathing in the spring while invoking the names of Michael and the Holy Trinity cured many believers. The power of the mind. There it is. Michael is often shown as a knight warrior decked out in armor and brandishing powerful weapons. He is typically shown wearing a helmet with a sword in one hand and a shield with the Latin inscription Queso Dei, who is like, which means who is like unto God. Some works of art highlight his role in the final judgment, where he is seen either with the book of life or a pair of weighing scales. The scales are for weighing the souls of the departed. Satan is usually seen as a dragon defeated lying at his feet. Michael is goring the creature with a lance or spear. In the book of Daniel, a vision reveals to the prophet that Michael will play a role in the deliverance of the people of Israel. Although it's not entirely clear the role, it has helped forge the idea that Michael would act as an advocate of the Jews, and that he may even serve as a, quote, high priest who would help them attain salvation at the end of the world. In an earlier passage in Daniel, an angel appears before the prophet, who has been mourning and fasting for 3 weeks. This otherworldly being explains to Daniel that a battle against the kings of Persia has delayed his journey to the prophet. It was only through the intervention in the battle by Michael that Daniel was able to continue his journey. He then warns Daniel what lies ahead for the Jews. Daniel stops to return the fight he had left, adding that the Archangel Michael was his only ally in that battle. This video is strange in saying the angels don't play as mediator between God and the chosen people. That's strange. He says this makes Michael's role as Israel's guardian advocate unique. This led to the creation of 2 prayers directly asking Michael to be Israel's intercessor. In Islam, known as Mikael, and my notes are kind of mixed up, so I'm not sure which notes are from which videos here. It's all kind of jumbled together, but I'm just trying to get through as much of it as I can. In Islam, known as Mikael, the angel is associated with divine providence. This should sound familiar. And he's also connected with food security, which is interesting because I brought some food in here. I don't normally eat on camera for a YouTube video, but I heated these cheese sticks up, and I'm ready to enjoy them. I didn't have a full meal tonight. I've just kind of been snacking here and there. So Mikael, the angel, is associated with divine providence and food security. Due to his role as the giver of rain, I put because Michael's typically the Archangel of fire, so this doesn't really make too much sense. Unless I put a note, weird since water is the element of water, unless it's like a rain of fire, it's raining fire. I don't know. Similar to his role as Israel's guardian, Mikael is also recognized as the angel of mercy, often seen interceding on humanity's behalf so that Allah may grant them salvation. Additionally, he acts as a guardian angel, keeping sacred ground safe and rewarding kind acts. Of all the archangels, only Michael and Gabriel, who is called Jibril, we went over that, are explicitly mentioned by name in the Quran. In Quran chapter 2, verse 98, the 2 archangels established to be on Allah's side against disbelievers. Muslims also have other major angels they have established the existence of, including Israel or Azrael, called the angel of death, which is also associated with Samael. It's a very interesting topic. You should look up some YouTube stuff on that. Also, Israfil or Raphael is mentioned, of course, who will blow the trumpet on the day of judgment. We covered that in the Raphael videos, the Islamic version of Raphael. The Islamic prophet met both Mikael and Jibril, with the former Mikael sitting on his left and the other on his right. During this encounter, the angels asked him to recite the Quran. Interestingly, Mikael is described as a very serious angel by Gabriel, who reportedly said he has not laughed since the creation of the hellfire. I thought that was hilarious. So this Islamic version of Michael, he's so serious he just never laughs, and Jibril or Gabriel is considered to be a more, I guess, humorous angel because he's more used to working with the humans. Michael's energy is very solemn and serious, though. I do get that from Michael when I work with Michael. Devotion to the Archangel Michael predates all other angelic devotions, tracing its roots to 300 to 400 CE in the East. A century later, the Western Church began observing an annual feast. So this is 100 years later, when the Church, Michael's already known in the East, but later in the West, they began observing an annual feast day honoring Michael and the other angels called Michaelmas, pronounced Michaelmas. It's so funny, it's like Christmas, but with Michael, or Michael's Mass. It is said to be the Christian equivalent of the autumn equinox. Strange, since fall is typically associated with the West and Gabriel, according to some other correspondences. The autumnal equinox marks both a change in weather patterns and a starting point for many important sectors of society. For the English, Michaelmas, or just the equinox, meant it was time to elect new officials. A lot of businesses, schools probably start this time of year. I wrote that in the notes, and then that was actually the next thing that was mentioned in the video. The universe has a way of doing that. It brings the right knowledge to you at the right time. You know, there's always these synchronicities happening. The Irish would fish on this day, believing that good luck would bring them a good catch on Michaelmas, so that's kind of cool. There's a few more unimportant facts in the video. Goose, like the animal of a goose, actually paying rent coincided with this holiday as well, Michaelmas. Typically a goose becoming the preferred currency, so a meal. I don't know. The goose isn't like really a symbol that I come across too much. The goose and gridiron is where Freemasonry, modern Freemasonry, began in 1717. They got together at that tavern. Archangel Michael, the battle commander of God's angelic host. Jesus, Son of God, who died on the cross for the sins of the people. So this is where things get interesting. Many people believe Michael may be Christ himself, before becoming human and later rising from the dead. Jehovah's Witnesses actually believe that the Archangel and Christ are the same. They cite Michael's depiction in the Epistle of St. Jude as the only They cite Michael's depiction in the Epistle of St. Jude as the only archangel as proof. They say it suggests there is only one angel, and point out that the term archangel only occurs in the Bible in the singular, never in the plural. It's interesting to note. They also cite 1 Theologians chapter 4 verse 16 as proof of Christ's association with the term archangel, as the verse describes Christ descending from heaven with an archangel's voice. I might have to pull the Bible out and see what that verse is all about. I'm going to take a couple more bites here. These chew sticks are good. So let's see here. Theologians said, one theologian. Thessalonians, that looks to be how you really pronounce it. Page 545. New Testament, of course, if it's referencing Jesus. Chapter 4, verse 16. For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of God, and the dead in Christ shall rise first. And if we continue, then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Lord. Wherefore comfort one another with these words. Very interesting. So the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout. And of course this shout, this vibration, we see this theme in like Skyrim with dragon shouts. And it says he has the trump of God. And with the trump of God, does he mean trumpet, much like the Archangel Raphael? So maybe he's all the archangels in one. There's a lot of interesting theories, that you could really take from a lot of this. Let's continue. Mormons say Michael is actually Adam before he became mortal. Interesting. Oh, did I already read this? We read that Jesus Christ and Archangel Michael were the same, but this says Mormons say Michael is actually Adam before he became mortal. They base this on how they interpret the meaning of his Hebrew name. However, they also recognize his role as angelic commander and Satan's chief enemy and regard Jesus Christ as a separate entity. Interesting. So their views are a little bit different than the Jehovah's Witnesses. Like the other angels, Michael is revered among Christians, Jews, and Islams. Or Muslims, I'm sorry if I'm getting those terms confused. The finest champion, he who is as God, the only one who could defeat Lucifer, the leader of angels. In the book of Daniel, the prophet is praising his Lord, hoping he will bring stability to the turmoil of Israel and confessing the sins. This is, I believe, is the same story as Gabriel. Daniel 10, 5 through 6. Daniel 10:13 can also read Daniel 10 through 20. And then it refers to the delay of the Prince of Persia. So I think some of this stuff, some of these notes, they kind of repeat a lot of the stuff that was said with Archangel Gabriel. But since I have the Bible out, let me go ahead and see if these verses are indeed the same that we read last time. So let me get to Daniel real quick. Well, not real quick, but hopefully quick enough that I'm not losing your interest just yet. Page 419. Daniel 10:13. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia. So this is supposed to be Gabriel and Michael. You can also read Daniel 10 through 20. So yeah, this is the man in linen. If we go back to Daniel chapter 10, verse 5, then I lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with the fine gold of Uphaz. We talked about this last time in the Gabriel videos. I'm going to go ahead and skip down to Daniel chapter 10, verse 12. Then said he unto me, Fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that thou didst set thine heart to understand and to chasten thyself before thy God, thy works were heard, and I am come for thy words. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia. Now I am come to make thee understand what shall befall thy people in thy latter days, for yet the vision is for many days. And when he had spoken such words unto me, I set my face toward the ground, and I became dumb. And behold, one like the similitude of the sons of men touched my lips. And then I opened my mouth and spake, and said unto him that stood before me, O my Lord, by the vision my sorrows are turned upon me, and I have retained no strength. For how can the servant of this Lord talk with this, my Lord? For as for me, straightway there remained no strength in me, neither is there breath left in me. So Daniel's like, he's basically losing all his vitality and strength. Then there came again and touched me one like the appearance of a man, and he strengthened me, and said, O man greatly beloved, fear not. Peace be unto thee, be strong, yea, be strong. And when he had spoken unto me, I was strengthened, and said, Let my Lord speak, for thou hast strengthened me. Then he said, Knowest thou wherefore I come unto thee? And now will I return to fight with the prince of Persia? And when I am gone forth, lo, the prince of Persia, lo, the prince of Grecia shall come. But when I will show thee that which is noted in the scripture of truth, and there is none that holdeth with me in these things but Michael your prince. And that is the end of chapter 10 in Daniel. So yes, this is supposed to be Gabriel, it seems, and he's merely referencing how Michael came to help him. Gabriel references are in Daniel chapter 8, verse 16 and 8:17, also chapter 9 through 21. That's probably a lot of the stuff we read before, so I'm not going to go over all that. This guy says Daniel should have already recognized the voice of Gabriel, so this is apparently Michael. At the end of the day, this is pretty unimportant when it comes to our personal practice, but interesting nonetheless, I wrote a note of. Or perhaps Gabriel merely came as his true form this time, which is more intimidating, and it caught him off guard. But it being called vision of a man, it may just be a messenger bringing the word of the archangel. So it's really hard to say. Daniel chapter 8, verse 16. Let's see how familiar this is. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of Eliah, which called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. So he came near where I stood, and when I came, I was afraid and fell upon my face. But he said unto me, Understand, O son of man, for at the time of the end shall be the vision. Now as he was speaking with me, I was in a deep sleep on my face toward the ground, but he touched me and set me upright. And this is where he gets the vision of the ram that we talked about. Also chapter 9:21. Yea, while I was speaking in prayer, even the man Gabriel, see, he mentions him as a man here, whom I had seen in the vision at the beginning, being caused to fly swiftly, touched me about the time of the evening oblation. So yeah, sometimes in the Bible it's just hard to know which angel's which. Calling Michael Daniel's prince here, highlighting his importance, the part we had read before, Michael being the prince. It was Daniel 10. But I will show thee that which is noted in the scripture of truth, and there is none that holdeth with me in these things but Michael your prince. His final mention in the Old Testament is in Daniel 12:1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. And if we go on, and many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. Okay. Michael is protector and bringer of salvation to Israel. He is not even physically present in these Old Testament passages, so all you get is small hints. I'm not sure which Old Testament ones they're talking about. Some think the Prince of Persia is in fact a demon, which kind of makes more sense than him just being a mere human if he's giving the archangels troubles. Of course, angels and demons engage in, quote, spiritual battles, even though they are kind of one and the same. They also have different offices on the hierarchy. Perhaps this is why Daniel had trouble comprehending this concept. Angels and demons are different polarities. Also talk about the wars in the stars, Star Wars. There is a lot going on in the sky. Sometimes when you can get out in the country and stuff, there's a lot going up in the macrocosmic view of things. There's a lot. There's always some kind of spiritual warfare going on. Short mention to Lucifer being a perfect being, beautiful and so divine and mighty compared to his peers, he grew woefully arrogant. Many even took to his charisma and passion and believed that he could overthrow God, so they ended up joining him. First, he had to get through Michael, though. Michael was stronger than expected, so Lucifer ended up transforming himself into a dragon. I don't really have too many more notes on Archangel Michael, and I still have more to write. So I think I'm going to go ahead and end this video up pretty soon. It's already at 25 minutes. I know the pace of this video hasn't been super fast. I've just been kind of relaxing. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and looks like I made a note to read Revelation 12 verses 7 through 8. Wipe my dirty fingers off. I'm always so particular about being clean around my nice books. Some of the paperback books, some of the ones I've worn out quite a bit, I'm not so worried about. But this, my Masonic Bible, it's one of my most treasured physical possessions. I don't really get too protective over too many physical things. Everything exists up here anyway, and in here. But we all have our certain items that are sacred, they mean a lot to us. Okay, so Revelation, so we're going to the back. Let me see if I can get there. Page 565. And then it's Revelation 12, 7 through 8. And there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and he prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our God, and the power of his Christ, for the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. Anyway, I'm not going to keep reading on that, but the Lamb, I found out through further research, unlike the lambskin apron of Freemasonry, the Lamb is the sun because Aries, the Lamb is the baby ram, so to speak, Manly P. Hall says. So the ram is Aries, and that's the Father God or God, and then the sun is the Lamb. So you have the ram and the lamb. So when they're talking about rams in the Bible, they're talking about the zodiac, when they're talking about animal sacrifices. Manly P. Hall says there were a lot of times physical sacrifices, but at the same time it also represents the transmutation of self. It's the sacrifice. It's the sacrifice of one's base passions for enlightenment. That's it's the internal fire. You're not burning animals in a fire. You're using certain archetypes and zodiacal energies and stuff. These potencies, when you work with archangels like Malchidiel, you're working with the energy of Aries. Michael is a soldier who fights for the glory of God. With the Prince of Persia, it's hard to know how powerful he is, but with Lucifer, we know it is an enemy of equal or greater skill. This takes great courage. Maybe Michael considered his own mortality, but he did not hesitate, because he's technically the second oldest angel. It's Lucifer and then Michael, from what I understand. He doesn't join Lucifer, he remained loyal to God. Does Michael have a transformation as well? Well, he didn't have to, apparently, because he fought as himself. So it's not like Frieza, where Frieza in Dragon Ball Z has all these transformations, and then Goku, he just goes straight to Super Saiyan and kicks Frieza's butt. Okay, so I think I'm going to go ahead and end the video here, and I'm going to go ahead and make a note to start the next video here. And hopefully, I don't know how many more Michael notes I have to do, but hopefully not too many more, because I think we've covered, most things we can on Archangel Michael. I try to cover all the archangels in length on here, maybe a little bit too much in detail, but other than like ceremonial magic in general and Freemasonry in general, I would say like archangels are my next. That was cool, that just hit 3133 in the video. Archangels are my next most interesting subject to me. But they're connected with those topics as well, of course. So, alright everyone, I'm going to hop off of here. Please like this video. We've reached over, this will be, if this ends up being the second video I download tonight, or upload I guess, then it'll be 101 videos we have on this channel. And I think we have like 492 subscribers or something now, so we're so close to 500 subscribers. Thank you to everyone who's subscribed, who's been a part of this. I love doing this, so I'm going to continue to keep doing it. Alright, peace and love everybody, and take care.